I love you.
Welcome back to the Couch Potatoes. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
Yeah? Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am the Faceless Leon. This is a podcast about movies and TV.
You questioning me? You questioning me?
Are you a star?
You come into my home and you question me?
Yeah, I do. I come into my home and I ask you, are you a star?
We're all stars. We're all products of stardust.
Have you been born? Have you been born? Again in the name of Jesus? Savior?
Define, yeah, I was going to say, define what birth means, and yeah, sure.
Okay, then you can watch these movies, and we can be, the chosen together, the ones that become stars because we watch this movie.
Ew. I don't want to be the chosen. Yuck.
So today is the potato pick. It's the first episode of the month, typically.
Yep.
We got it right this month. But
did we?
Yeah. I
guess that's true. Yeah. It's been a weird one.
Yeah, it's been interesting, but we're figuring it out. Anyhow, Potato Pick is our patron inspired episode where they make suggestions and then we have the public vote on it. And the decision was A Star is Born, an old versus new, but these are the two new ones. There's two other ones that came before it. So this is a Hollywood tradition. And I think that's kind of interesting.
I think it's sad. I one of my least favorite things is remakes, especially of movies that just don't need it. And I'm not going to deny a little bit of spoilers for the episode coming up, but I do like both of these films.
Mm-hmm.
However, they've already been perfected. And it's kind of just change to perfect a perfected movie. Like, you're not really doing anything. You're just taking the exact same story and just putting in good acting. Like, it's beautiful. It is beautiful. But why the fuck? Every single time every time they make this movie, it's just like, okay, give it all the nominations. Give it all the nominations. Go for it. Go for it. It's just, it's fucking producers. Come up with new shit. Do something, you lazy bastards. Like, stop relying so much. I hate capitalism so fucking much, man.
Yeah.
Like,
sure. But listen. At the very least, the 2018 one really did seem to be Bradley Cooper's passion project. So, I mean...
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I wholly disagree with you, too. I think it's kind of cool that each of them are at least 20 years apart. Almost 30.
40 years.
Huh? 40 years,
Almost 40 years for the last one.
Yeah, for the last one. I do think that, in 20 years, I'm not going to be upset if they come out with a new one. But I probably... unless it's not better than the 2018 one, because the 2018 one's pretty good. Of course, it's the first one I watched. It's the first one I watched. I've never seen the Judy Garland one either, or the one
really.
From the 30s.
Oh, I do wish we had watched the Judy Garland one for this one.
Yeah,
maybe
we could do that
since it's not
at
part
some
of it,
point. Watch the 1930s one and the 50s one.
Yeah, how about we wait 20 years from now and we'll watch them?
I was thinking next week.
So the exact same fucking movie. The exact same fucking story. Like, nothing changes. No, it's a beautiful story. So here's the basis of it. And we'll dive into the differences when we talk both movies, but the basis is you have an alcoholic singer, songwriter, famous musician who is becoming a bit of a has-been. His performances are starting to cause a lot of trouble because of his addictions. His popularity is declining. People are starting to hate this singer-songwriter because of his just absolute piss-poor concerts. He eventually comes across a beautiful young woman who has a beautiful voice, beautiful songwriting skills, and he falls desperately in love, and the two of them brew a relationship. And eventually he discovers that due to his own personality, his addictions, his demons, if you will, he's holding her back. and he starts to get a little scared about how he's holding her back, and bad shit happens. And that's basically the point of both movies.
Yeah, and you know, also, if you've ever dealt with alcoholism in your life, you know that there's a lot of guilt involved in the whole disease in general, but it does lead to these individuals with alcoholism lashing out.
Yeah, embarrassing the absolute hell out of themselves.
I mean, there's also people who are quiet alcoholics too, don't get me wrong, but that definitely happens. They take some not physical swings. At least I don't think he hits Barbara. I don't recall. I just watched it yesterday.
At the very least, they're both emotionally abusive. That's one way to put it. Is they both, whether they want to be or not, whether they don't want to be there or not, they're both emotionally abusive to their partners.
Yeah.
And there are some scenes that are pretty hard to watch, just emotionally, not in regards to like severe abuse or anything, but it's just there's some moments where it's just like it's cringeworthy, if you will. In a good way, not in a this is so bad it's cringe. It's more along the lines of like,
oh, he just said that,
scenes that happen that you're just like, oh,
he just said that. How
he just said that he just fucked her, this other woman.
Yeah, well, in one of them. So yeah, let's talk about the
Chrissy Chris
1970s one. 76. Chris Christopherson was chosen to play John Norman Howard. Now, the only other thing I've seen Chris Christopherson in that I'm aware of is the Blade movies.
Yeah. Famous singer-songwriter.
I know he's a singer-songwriter. You know, also, he was pretty hot when he was young. I'm going to just say that here and now.
Yes. And I agree with you. I agree. Him himself was a hot man. I don't know about his personality. I wasn't aware of it, but his character in A Star Is Born,
Norman,
in my opinion, not a hot man. I take in personality into my hotness. His personality is absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
I hate this man so much.
He sucks in a lot of ways. I do still get what Esther Hoffman sees in John Norman. It's the poet thing, you know, the tortured poet thing. Barbara Streisand, by the way, plays Esther, and she sings.
And Barbara Streisand's nose plays Barbara Streisand's nose.
I will say, because you did say something about her nose. I was kind of surprised when I watched this that the whole nose stroke thing in the 2018 one wasn't a reference to this movie. I really thought that was going to be a thing, and I'm sorry, Barbara, if I'm being rude. Honestly, I like your nose, so there.
Yeah, that's fine.
I also like this movie.
That's fair. I do not like the 76 version.
Not as much as the 18 version, I'll say. Right?
Yeah, that's fair. There's good things. It's like, I like the acting. I do think Chris Christopherson and Barbara Streisand do a good job. But the problem for me is, I just, and again, I'm sorry, Barbara, I know people love you and everything. I don't like her singing in this. It's just kind of boring for me.
Well, like, I gotta say, it's 110 times better than Chris's.
I disagree. I like Chris's singing. The movie starts off with a concert of John Norman Howard, and he's got this famous, it's in the movie, it's famous, called Watch Closely Now, and he's got this, like, very, we were talking about beforehand, Doorsy and Frank Zappa feel. And it's literally just him just being like, "Are you watching me? Watch closely now." And it's just like, it's nothing song. It really is a nothing song, but I enjoy it. I hear that song and I'm just like, yeah, I can get why people like this. But then there's another moment later on after him and Esther start developing their relationship where he brings her up on stage to sing one of her songs. And the audience immediately, like, the audience is like booing the crap because Chris Christopherson just stormed off the stage,
Right.
and he's calling them names and he's treating them like shit and everything, and they're all booing, and this random woman comes out, and they didn't pay for her. They paid to see him, and, it's kind of, upsetting that this other woman comes out, and she starts singing, and immediately the audience just starts clapping, and they're just like, yeah, this is good. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's okay. Wow. Like, I don't know. If I had paid money to go see a band I want, and they just brought up a random woman who just starts singing a bar song, and that's all it was.
I would say that the genre difference is a bit jarring. Like, if it was Neil Young who took a break and said, "Hey, I'm going to bring on an artist real quick to play a song. She's real great," I think it would have been fun. Because the tone of the music matched.
Yeah, and also Neil Young wouldn't have called the entire audience pieces of shit and booed them and called them ignorant assholes.
Probably not, at least not until the late 70s.
But I mean, that's what I'm getting at, is like, they just got physically and emotionally abused by the person they paid good money to come see.
Yeah.
And then he brings out a random woman, and she starts singing in a different genre with in my opinion, at least at this part in the movie, mildly mediocre voice. And it's just like, I don't get it. Everybody starts cheering. I'm like, yeah, this is movie magic.
Well, she's working through stage fright, for one. That's what I'm picking up from Barbara's performance anyways, is that she's working through stage fright, which is, that's the part what I'm most mad about with John Norman, is how he forced her on the stage. Like almost literally forced her on the stage. It seemed a lot nicer in the next one. They do the exact same thing in the next one, but it seemed a lot nicer.
Bradley Cooper, I understand why she likes, I understand why Lady Gaga in the newer version likes Bradley Cooper's character. He actually has charisma. He's actually, kind-hearted in a manner. Like, he's got this ability to understand who she is. Yeah. But, Chris is so abusive. In so many ways.
Yeah, Chris sucks. He's just really burnt out on having the eyes on him all the time. And he acts out in some pretty major scary ways. Chris Christopherson does stunts. Did you know that? I don't actually know if he did his own stunts, but it looked like him.
I feel like he probably did not ride the motorcycle off the stage. That probably wasn't him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Yeah. He wrecks it right into his amps. Well, the speakers, rather, for the show. And yeah, it's not good.
That's another major difference, too, is the embarrassing moments of the 76 version aren't that cringeworthy. They're just kind of maddening. Yeah. You can imagine going to this big event and watching this drunk guy do this on stage, and you're just like, this is just sad. It's not cringeworthy, it's just sad. Right. Whereas in the 2018 version, there's a moment where Lady Gaga is winning an award. She goes up to get an award. Yeah. And Bradley Cooper stumbles up there drunk, and he just pisses his pants. I remember seeing that in the theater and just immediately just cringing. I was just like, oh, this scene is so uncomfortable. I know. It's hard.
It really works for the movie. Especially
it's a good uncomfortable.
After, his character goes to rehab. We'll talk about it more, I think, a little later. But there is the same scene in this movie at the Grammys. So they both get nominated for Grammys, this being the female character. Esther Hoffman gets nominated. Mm-hmm. She wins, and right after she's announced, John Norman stumbles in, very obviously inebriated, and he walks up to the stage and gets up there with her and starts being like, where's mine for being the worst performer of the year? There should be and so he makes a big old scene, and it's awful, and she confronts him about it basically immediately, and they go through a really big rough patch. I feel like a lot more time a lot of time passes in both of the movies in very confusing ways, I will say.
Yeah.
But I feel like more time passes in the 76 one because she is going on tour and stuff, and she talks about flying back and forth, and whenever she sees him, she can tell that he's just pretending to be okay.
Yeah.
It gets pretty bad until eventually the point where Chris comes home to find a reporter half naked in his swimming pool waiting to have a interview with Esther. But she said that she'd do anything. So, of course, he sleeps with her. That's when Esther comes home. One. Yeah.
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 It's pretty rough.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't understand why she likes John so much. I get tortured poet, but it's just like, girl, go to therapy. Like,
yeah,
talk to somebody about this. Figure out exactly what you like about him.
Go to therapy too.
No, he's beyond therapy. That's the problem. John's way beyond therapy. He's been told time and again by many people in his life who love him and want to help him out, and he's ignored all of them. Like, it's gone on for years. As much as everybody, in my opinion, deserves a second chance and deserves that opportunity to better themselves, John's not going to do it. John's never going to do it. His character is never going to do it.
I mean, he isn't, because spoilers, the story ends with the male protagonist passing away in a tragic way. We'll say in this one, it is an off-screen car accident. Yeah,
they leave it vague as to whether or not it was an intentional thing or if it was
you don't know.
A byproduct of his demons, his alcoholism and everything.
Right, right. He was drinking while he was driving, but it was like super early in the morning. He had spent the night with her, and it was his first drink of the day. I don't think that's what killed him. He was going so fast and not worrying about what side of the road he was on. And so I don't know if it was intentional or if he was just being reckless because he's reckless. He's reckless throughout the entire film. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I like that. I do think that's one of the good things of this movie is they left it vague. There's a lot of emotional decline going on at the end with Esther and how she handles it. It's really quick, but it's still, I don't know. I get why it's a beloved movie. To close on the Barbra Streisand, Chris Christopherson one, there's a lot of good things about it. The acting is phenomenal. I'm not gonna deny that in a second. They do a good job acting. It's just, I don't get
I think they have good chemistry,
I don't know.
Honestly, but
yeah. They do. It's just, I don't know. I understand also why people love Barbra Streisand. She's not for me. I've never been a fan of her music. It's good, but it's not something I'm going to put on a lot. Her acting,
that's fair.
It's good. I'm not going to put it on a lot. Like, it's the exact same thing. Like, she's good. She's just not for me.
I get why someone would like this movie, like you said, and I get why they wouldn't like it. I think it's pretty good. I haven't really seen that many movies in the 70s era. Saying that, I think it's one of the better ones I've seen. So I'll give it a full face. Did you give it a rating?
I give it 2.5 stars. Like, it's fine. Like, I don't know. I've seen the Judy Garland one. I like that more. I've seen the Bradley Cooper one. I like that the best. It's just, this is a dip. Like, it's like, I'm surprised that there wasn't even another one after this one, because it's just like, I see this and I'm just like, who would want to remake this movie after this? Like, it's fine. It's
yeah,
nothing.
I don't know.
But the Bradley Cooper one.
Yeah, I think it's more the whole point, I think, of making it a tradition is just to upstate the style and the music. I mean, that's the whole thing. And this definitely fits the 70s
I think it's just
style.
To make money.
But that's one of the reasons why it doesn't hold up as well as I think the 2018 will. Because there's all that machismo shit. It's not gonna age well. It's just not.
No, it's gross. It's just gross.
Yeah, it's just gross. Well, I think we'll take a break then.
Yeah, let's take a soda pop break.
Come
back and wrap up on Jack Maine and Allie.
Yeah.
Such boring names.
I love you.
Alrighty, welcome back from our break. I think we're going to be much easier to agree with things on this movie.
Yes.
The Bradley Cooper version is so much more agreeable. Yeah. I don't have much to attack on it.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think a lot of it, there's just, like you said, it is the exact same movie. It is. And I think, like you said, that the last movie was fine and maybe didn't need to be remade, but I think this saves that other movie because the music's better.
Yeah.
The main character is a touch less problematic, and
yes,
yeah, and
he's still got his demons, but he's not. Yeah. He's not as abusive,
right? He's 100. Yeah, I mean, there is some emotional abuse there, but it's self-sabotage. It's always self-sabotage.
Yeah. And he's got Sam Elliott as a brother.
He's got Sam Elliott as a brother, which I also was like, okay, that's too strange to not be part of, like, the other movies. But no, that's just Bradley Cooper's writing / Sam Elliott said, hey, I love this movie. Put me in the remake.
Put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach.
No, Sam Elliott is the, so we didn't even talk about Gary Busey.
No, we didn't talk about Gary Busey.
We have a very normal-looking, normal-acting Gary Busey in the 76 version, 78
He's
version.
He's supposed to be the square man to fucking Chris Christopherman's Wild Man. It's beautiful. It's really funny to think about.
He would pour Coke on his hand for Chris to take a bump off of before concerts.
Both
and then he'd hand him a handle of Jack.
Yeah.
It's like it's weird because it's like, obviously he knows that Chris has issues, but he still encouraged it.
Oh yeah, like, he's an enabler. He still pushed it. But it's also the 70s. They definitely did not have the same kind of peer pressure education that we had. They just had peer pressure. And anyhow, that's not what's going on here. He wants the drugs, and he's going to take what is given to him. But Gary Busey definitely is enabling him, and we wonder what is wrong with that generation.
Yep. But, like, the difference is, besides... So, I think Sam Elliott might have been the only one who actually won an award on this movie. On the Bradley Cooper one, that is. I gotta look that up
Sam
again.
Elliott?
Maybe it didn't even win an award. I thought... Okay, nope. It only won Best Original Song. Every other thing it was nominated for, it did not win. But...
Okay. But it had a lot of nominations, I remember.
Oh, yeah, it did. 8 nominations. All of them deserved, I think. Sam Elliott, though, like, he has such a small role in this movie. It's still important, but it's very...
Yeah.
It's more of a step back than Gary Busey's even, I think. I think Gary Busey might have had more screen time than Sam Elliott did. You might be right,
but the scenes that he was in were way more poignant than the scenes with Gary Busey. They're both named Bobby, too, which is pretty funny. They spell it differently.
Yeah.
But they're both named Bobby, and they're both the manager. Sam Elliott is Bradley Cooper's big brother. And that's because the whole backstory is that his dad ran off, had a midlife crisis, ran off, and then had Bradley Cooper with this 18-year-old woman on this farm that he was living on. Yeah, raised him to drink with him. That's where the troubles began. And I really appreciate giving him a backstory. We don't get that with John Norman. Not at all.
Yeah. No, he's already in the bad place with the original version.
Yeah.
In this one, you get a taste of why he's in the bad place. And I agree. I think this is an example that proves why remaking something is important.
Yeah.
I just still didn't think it was necessary. I kind of wish Bradley Cooper had taken this story idea and done something different. Like, it doesn't need to be A Star Is Born. You know, it's like, it's a beautiful story.
Right.
Figure out how to change it. Like, it's different enough that I don't know, like obviously it's still obviously the exact same story, but there's enough change to the character, to the music even, that it's like, I don't know, it's so weird. I don't like it. Remakes are just lazy to me. It's like this one's not, but it's just like it really is just producers being like, all right, what are we going to confirm that we're going to do this year? And somebody comes up and is like, well, Stars Born made $80 million the last time it was come out, and today's time, that's what? Hold on, let me look it up.
Yeah, I don't know on a budget it
made $400 million.
Jesus Christ. The 76 version?
No, the 76 made $80 million.
Oh, okay.
This one made $400 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's why remakes get made, is because the producers just see, back in the 70s this happened.
Excuse me.
We're doing it again.
I met Bebe Jesus.
Sorry, Jesus.
Okay, that's a reference to the 76 one. MG Kelly is a DJ.
That also surprised me. I did not realize it was Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it doesn't go by that now. It's MG Kelly. But, it's just... When we saw the cast list, just, right before we started recording, I was like, what? That's who?
Also, Robert Englund was in it.
He was?
Robert Englund, according to Wikipedia, was uncredited as Marty.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that. That's crazy. Oh my, he did things other than Freddy. What? My gosh,
he was young once. Oh my god.
Chris Christopherson was in more things than Blade?
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
He was
No,
hot.
There's a lot more to like, though, about the newer Stars Born. Specifically for me, Lady Gaga. I think, and again, no offense to Barbara Streisand. I understand why people love Barbara. But Lady Gaga, her music's beautiful in this. Her character's beautiful in this. We have grown up looking at this persona, Lady Gaga, forever.
Right.
And to see her just take all of
it felt like she was being
the masks off. Yeah, exactly. She took everything away and she was just playing this character. She was Allie. She was doing everything to be this beautiful actor. And it was brilliant. I loved her performance in this so much. I liked her singing. The only thing I hated was even though I'm not a country music fan, the only thing I hated was watching her character go from being this really cutesy, soft country rock kind of character, and then being turned into a pop star. That was so heart-wrenching to watch.
Rafi Gavron's character playing Rez Gavron.
Goodness.
He's a music producer and kind of takes Allie away from Jackson in a way. But Jackson's all for it. He's jealous, but he's trying to be all for it because he knows it's good for her career.
Yeah.
And
that's another thing about his character that's kind of beautiful is he realizes how his personality is affecting her, not only her as a person, but her career even.
I'm not sure we said that his name is Jackson Maine, and he has a great line in it that he says, everybody uses your full name when you're famous. And she said, well, what do you go by? He said, just Jack. Just call me Jack.
I thought you were going to say he had a famous line where he's just like, are you watching closely now? Goodness.
But that was Chris.
No, it's ridiculous. I loved...
It was Chrissy Chris.
I just like this movie a lot more. There's a lot more emotion. There's a lot more heart. I mean, the biggest, saddest part is the ending. I fucking hate Rez for...
dude.
Telling...
Yeah, I was like, why are you doing this, man?
You're
thinking about your client, sure, but you don't
You're treating another
understand,
human being like shit.
You do not understand mental illness if that's what you're gonna fucking do, man. Like he was on a road up, and I do think
he was doing so much better.
Yeah, I don't think he would have done what he did without that, and I think that's what Bradley wants us to think as well. There is a future, be it months or years from now, for the present in the movie, that Jack does this anyways, because he is depressive and suicidal, and it's a cycle, really, and you can learn how to make the cycle less sufferable, and he was on that path, but
and it's really hard. It's if you've listened to our Will and Harper episode, we've both dealt with suicide in our lives, both personally and through loved ones. Yeah, and it's always a hard emotional place to be in, and just I hate the ending of this movie so much. It's so good, but it hurts, just upsetting.
I cried so much, and I knew it was gonna happen.
But it's that's the thing with this movie, though, is it's like this is why it's better than the Barbra Streisand Chris Christopherson, is their relationship makes so much more sense in this.
Yeah, I think
you can see more of why Lady Gaga likes Bradley Cooper's character. You can see why. I mean, you can see that he's not just in love with her music; he's in love with her. Yeah, like even though it's her music that gets him. I mean, okay, Chris Christopherson's obviously in love with Barbra Streisand's character too, but it really just felt more like the one thing, like I don't know, with him it felt more of an obsessive, like but her music's so good I can't let her go, and like I don't know, I just this one
I do kind of see what you're saying. I do feel like Esther and John Norman's relationship was more obsession, where this seems like they actually build each other up and make each other better.
Yeah.
There's still a hard road that they suffer as well, because he does get jealous, because he's losing his career for it's his own damn fault, and he knows that too. And he's also losing his hearing. I thought that was another good add to the movie.
Oh yeah. I almost forgot about that.
And I think that really just builds on the isolation that he feels as an alcoholic and addict. Just your perception of the world is very insular, I feel, because you're trying to dull something, And I thought it really worked for the film, is all I'm trying to get at. And there's some pretty good scenes with that.
There was one moment. Again, just like in the last one, the acting is just phenomenal here. Mm-hmm. It's also, I think, Bradley Cooper's directorial debut. Yeah. Which is,
I think so,
crazy impressive. I think he did an amazing job as both a director and as the star. I think he did a great job at directing himself even, which is like, I can't imagine doing that. That's got to be one of the hardest things to do. Yeah. But like, I think he really pulled it off really, really well.
Yeah.
But I think the actual best moment of acting in this entire movie was in this incredibly tiny scene where Sam Elliott just lays into Bradley Cooper, and then he gets in his truck and he backs out of the lane, and Sam Elliott just like, there's a moment where, when he's backing out, he like turns around and he's looking at the camera as he's going backwards, and you could just see everything in his eyes.
Yeah.
Best acting in the entire movie.
The line that he actually is responding to right before Jackson shuts the door, and then he opens it again and says, "By the way, all the time, remember how you said that I idolized Dad? Well, it was you I idolized."
Yes.
And he shut the door, and then he backs up, and Sam is so good in that scene. Yeah, and it is just like
that scene.
30 seconds. 15, I don't know.
Exactly. Like, that's the thing, is like, his screen time in this movie is so small, but it's that scene that got him nominated. I guarantee it. That was the scene that like blew me away in the theaters. I was watching that and I was just like, good God, Sam Elliott. Like, how did you do that? It's so simple, but it's so good. Beautiful.
It's good. And, you know, I really did like Bobby and Jackson's relationship. You know, Bobby was always picking up Jackson's mess. And before that, they were in a band together. It's just, I just think the way that he takes care of his brother, despite resenting him for, you know, messing up his life, not his own, but, you know, Jack's own life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has a really good arc for even being in there. Yeah, I think nowadays movie writers try to give every character, as least best they can, an arc. And Gary Busey's character didn't have an arc. He just was Gary Busey, but less.
Right, yeah.
Gary Busey light. So, yeah, I think, though, we can go into closing statements. Oh, real quick. Did you know it was Andrew Dice Clay that played her dad?
Why do I know that name?
He's a stand-up comedian from the 80s.
Oh.
And he got blacklisted for a while, and then he had a bit of a comeback. He got his own show for a minute, and I guess he's also in this movie.
Yeah, I think I've seen only the one. He's in a Woody Allen movie. I don't really know him. I just know that name. And Dave Chappelle is Noodles, though.
Well, I had listened to his comedy because my stepfather was a fan of stand-up, so we listened to comedy channels on the radio.
That's fair. I listen to mostly Eddie Murphy. It's like the only stand-up comedy I listen to.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, it's I enjoy it. I think it's this is a much better film. Clearly, it wins for me out of the two. I do kind of hope that this is the last of Star is Born. I don't think they need to remake it, especially after this.
Now hold on.
I think this took the cake.
Now hold on.
Nope.
In 2048, I'll remake it and have Ariana Grande play the Jackson main character.
Ooh, okay.
And her have either a young Twinkie male pop star or whatever, or
it's gotta be
a woman, a young woman. Either.
I like that better. I think you have a lesbian cowgirl, who older Ariana Grande brings into the pop star world. Yeah, I like it. Not happening, please, dear God. No. Let it end. Bradley Cooper, you did a great job here. You perfected it. You hopefully perfected it enough that Hollywood doesn't decide to just remake it. We know better though. It made $400 million fucking dollars. Of course they're gonna remake it.
That's a lot of fucking money.
God damn it! I hate that so much. But anyways, I give it 4 stars. I do think it's well acted, well directed, and that's honestly what really gets me. Is for a directorial debut, you know, Bradley Cooper knocked it out of the park. He did that. What was that other one? The Carney one. Do you remember that?
Yes. Oh, I don't remember what it was called, but yeah, I liked the arc in that, the circular storytelling in that. It was good.
Yeah, and that's like that. I want more of his directing, because I think his directing at Nightmare Alley.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely wasn't.
Or was it Maestro? No. That was another one he did. Nightmare Alley is the neo-noir psychological thriller film.
Yeah.
He didn't direct that. I thought he directed that.
Oh, he didn't direct it? Oh.
No, I guess that was Guillermo del Toro.
Sorry, Guillermo.
I want more directing from Bradley Cooper then. I want him to get back in and do more of that.
I do too. I think though now that you say that, I can kind of feel a little bit of Guillermo influence in this movie. Not like the spooky surreal stuff. Some of the shots.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
like it as well. I think it's a very good movie. It gets a face and a half. God, it doesn't make me cry. It is a hard watch at times, but it's just so damn beautiful.
Yeah, it was funny when we were talking about you were going to come over and rent the Chris Christopherson one, and I mentioned that my girlfriend and I had plans, and you're like, oh, you should watch the Lady Gaga one with her. And I was like, no, I don't want to cry with my girlfriend right now. I was like, I didn't say that, but that was my first thought, was like, no, I don't want to spend 2 hours.
I thought that would bring you closer.
We're already close.
Close enough.
We already cry together. We do not need this. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this
is heart-wrenching.
But it's very good catharsis. I believe in catharsis. But I also think that in 2018, they didn't have a global tragedy looming over their heads. So they could...
Yeah, they did. They
could have catharsis.
Still. Yeah, he's always a global tragedy.
Oh, God, yeah, that's true. Well, I'm so glad I got a VPN. I think that's for sure.
A very personal network.
A very personal network, that's right.
Yeah, thanks for bearing with us. Thank you, patrons, for your support. If you want to go down to patreon.com/greenandfaceless, sign up on a tier. If you want to suggest the next potato pick for next month, we love to have more patrons. We love to have more options. But if you can't afford to contribute, we completely understand that. We appreciate you listening. Just go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe if you will. Or even when the potato pick comes out for the vote, you can do that without signing up. You can just go down to our YouTube community page. We'll have the poll posted there, and you can vote there as well without needing to sign up for anything. So we really appreciate y'all. It's
also, not as a promotion, but we are still going to donate February's, a portion that we get from our patrons. We're going to donate half of that to the people in California who have lost their homes and need to rebuild their lives. Maybe if you do have the extra funds, think about them first before us. But if you do think about us, that's great too.
Yes.
So I think that's it. I think that's the show.
It is. I'm the Green Traveler from Gauche.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.